teach others the beauty of the land. My heart will be right as we come full circle. I'll give thanks for the miracles. North, south, east and west, I feel so blessed. I hope I'm moving on, walking on.
Hi everybody, welcome back. Woody here. Welcome to the 1,000 Miles with Woody Blaine. And we're really a grassroots show here. We're just laughing. We're literally using duct tape and some baling wire to keep us going here. We have a really special guest today, and as usual, we'll just get started right on it. And so it's a good friend of mine, Marty, and we look up to her, and a lot of people look up to her. So we're gonna pin her down on some things here. So, Marty, how are you today?
I am absolutely fabulous, Woody. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to be here.
You bet. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background for the viewers?
Well, let's see. I'm old, and I'm 39 years sober. I started walking the red road in '07. In a good way. I dabbled in it for 20 years, but it wasn't conducive to my lifestyle at that time. And I am a sun dancer. I am a chanupa carrier for the people. It's my privilege and honor to get to do that. My grandma on many circles, and auntie to many, and I'm very blessed.
That's the truth. I know that for a fact. And,
Yeah.
So, I think I can understand that dabbling in it for 20 years, and I kind of explain that because, like, from a little kid, it's like was involved in all of this, but what was missing was the connection. And so, is that what you mean? Finally got connected to it?
Yeah. I'd been looking for a spiritual solution for a long time in my life. I knew the way I used drugs and alcohol wasn't good, and I knew there was something really wrong with me. And I went to every church in the universe looking for a spiritual solution. I couldn't find one. And that's when I started dabbling on the red road, because it gave me something I could believe in. So, yeah.
I really relate with that. So, I think when that connection started to hit, I heard an elder say this one time: you'll know when this happens because it'll feel like the rug was pulled out from under you. And sometimes that's through losing everything, through some awful thing that could happen, and then all of a sudden you're left with this just you. And that's kind of what happened to me. And
I became a widow, and that threw me into a tailspin. And then 48 days later, I lost my mother. And I was spiritually totally disconnected. That happened in 2007. That's why I started walking. That's when, if my kids told you the story, they would tell you these people came and kidnapped their mother. But what they did was they came and saved me. And started introducing me to this road and how to walk it in a good way. Not that I really wanted it, because I liked the misery and the sadness and the grief that I was caught up in. I knew what to expect. And so I was real comfortable with it. But I also didn't want to be here anymore. And so my best friend in the whole world went to some native friends and said, "You got to do something. I can't lose her." And that was how I started.
The rest is history.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you know, I don't know if you know this or not, but you know, there's many of us here that count on you going, and because of what that ceremony is about. You know, you're praying for all of us back home and all that kind of stuff, and many other things I know too. I get this question a lot. Let's see um, how you answer it too. And so a lot of people ask me, well, what is spirituality? What does that mean? You know, and you know, one person giving an answer is not really enough here. And
My makeup's running in my eyeball.
it's okay.
Okay. What is spirituality to me? It's that belief in something greater than Marty. It's knowing that there's something else out there that's directing my life, and I don't have to.
Hmm.
All I have to do is suit up and show up and be willing to take the next right step, because I am spiritually driven. So I think that, to me, that's spirituality. It's just coming to surrender to something outside of myself. So, yeah.
It's kind of a hard question to answer fully.
It is, because it changes all the time.
Sure.
My spirituality isn't close to what it was 30 years ago.
You got some more stuff on your eye.
Oh, I got stuff on my eyeball. Okay.
I mean, we don't mind.
I know. I shouldn't have worn makeup. I always cry. But they're tears of gratitude. They're not sadness. So.
Well, we'll put this medicine out here.
Good. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a hard question to answer because it's real personal, and most of it's in, I don't know how to put it, like in feeling, but not in feeling.
Yeah.
It's almost like a knowing. And that kind of just comes, I believe anyway, just comes by the desire for something more calm and things like that. And then the doors begin to open to keep on that path.
Yeah.
That kind of brings us up to, so just like the story in the first episode that you got to watch that, right?
Yes.
And so it kind of talks about the times that we're in, where, you know, we got one energy here and we got a different energy here. And my curiosity has been for a long time, like, how many is there on this because of, you know, Grandpa's warning. And that if enough people don't get on this, it may fizzle out, and then we're kind of stuck with this wintertime energy. And so, I mean, I literally do know a few hundred. You probably know a couple hundred, but is that enough? And is there more? I'm almost positive there's more. If we were just aware of it, I believe it would help. It would, if there was a couple million people on this path, I think I would instantly feel better about trying to walk this path.
Yeah, but Woody, you share this path with others. I share this path with others. And we're both bringing people onto this path. And that's what it's about.
Yeah.
We're teaching others how to walk this path. I talk about it all the time, and I'm taking new people to lodges and new people to ceremonies, and that's how I was brought into it. So, you know, to me, that's part of that process, is we share our strength and our experiences with others, and they want to join us.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes.
So, and it really is a small world too, and just the people. I mean, when we say Red Road, we have viewers that'll know exactly what that means, and but then there's other roads, and who are they, and are they walking that, and is it similar, and and all that. That's what I'm really trying to find out here with this. And it may take a few months and get down the road here and start to understand. And I know a couple people in Europe that are on this path, and so you're reaching out to them. Hey, I'm starting this show.
Yeah.
Why don't you come on? And because all these different perspectives, and then too, part of that prophecy says that the direction of the earth people, which is the indigenous direction, is going to be opening up space for other people to come and heal. And so this healing is really important, and we're all carrying stuff, even from the beyond in our DNA that we need to heal from. That's a whole nother show, but we'll get into it. And, so, you started to tell me a story before the podcast here, and because we were talking about young people with old spirits, and I have a few of them lined up to come on the show. And you started telling me about, is it your grandson?
Great-grandson.
Great-grandson, and so he's just a youngster, but he has an old spirit, huh?
Oh yeah, he wasn't 18 months old. He was still in diapers, and we went to a Sundance because my 2 great-grandbabies were going to be blessed at the tree, and he saw that an EP, and he stripped off, and he ran in and picked up a drum and started singing. He knew what he was supposed to do. And he knew about the Chanupa. He was just learning to talk, and I was holding the Chanupa into the tree, and he was saying what I thought was mine poop, and we figured out it was mine pipe. And so we wrapped his hands around that pipe, and he literally fell into that tree. I made a drum. I thought it was for me. It won't sing. I handed it to him the other day, and he's singing, and it's singing too. So now I know I made him a drum. Yeah. And he talks to spirits all the time when we listen. Because he doesn't know it's not something everybody gets to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as that was like told to us, I don't know how that works, but it's like, I'm gonna see young people with old spirits, and we heard that and it was like, oh wow. But then you just start seeing them, like they were already there, but then you start, wow, I think that youngin's like that too, and
yeah. Well, and I think to some degree, Woody, all of us are, but society teaches us to not trust that and not believe in it.
Right.
I don't believe in deja vu. If I've been somewhere before, I've been somewhere before. And people don't want to look at that. We're all spiritual beings in some form or another.
Yeah, I asked an elder one time, and what deja vu meant. I have a lot of them, And,
yeah.
His answer was pretty simple. He just said, when you have that happen to you, it's just a little message or a signal that tells you you're right where you're supposed to be. And I was like, oh wow, my whole, I think our minds do it, is we make up this bigger definition of things, like holy person or medicine person.
Yeah.
It's like I've said most of my life, I'm not one of those, you know what I mean? I kind of grew up in this and was told, look, you're gonna have to carry this on when I'm gone and things like that. And I've always had this immediate answer, at least inside of me. Oh no, you got the wrong person. I'm not like you. I can't live up to that. I can't walk in your, shoes. And then, but the definition's much more simpler than I put it. I make it into something I can't be, and so I did not. And I did that for a long time.
We're afraid.
Yeah. Definitely come from fear.
Yeah.
All right, well, maybe we could segue here into another thing. So I'm trying to get different perspectives on prophecy, and so I know the way I tell it was that's all that was told to me a long time ago, and it's like impacted me greatly. Over the years, I've heard all kinds of other things, and they all fit, and then we're left with like a choice. Which way do I want to go? And I really believe it is a choice. And once I make a choice, then powers that be do something else. But I guess I'm just going to ask these kind of questions to everybody: is what kind of prophecies have you heard of? And
Well, the same ones you have, and I think they're all here. Um, just sometimes we choose to be blind to them. I've heard a lot of creation stories, and I believe that we're all in those times. You know, a lot of the Sundance ceremonies that I've been to, the Sundance chiefs say their vision is that we get all 7 colors together, and that's happening at Sundances all over the world. We're getting all 7 colors there. And so I believe it's happening. I just sit in awe of the wisdom that they knew 300 years ago where we were going to be today. It blows me away.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's some of these creation stories have been orally passed down for thousands of years, and
Yeah.
like I think about that, those signs. It's like, how did they know of without some kind of divine input 1,000 years ago that like an eagle would fly to the moon? I mean, could you imagine sitting there around the fire and being told that story every night? And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, sure, Grandpa, eagle's gonna fly up around the moon, but it seemed insurmountable. And then all of a sudden, it's outside of my reality. That wasn't an actual eagle, but a ship that was named Eagle.
Well, and being able to make that connection
Right.
that the eagle has landed, oh, that was a prophecy. Because when I think eagle,
Right.
not a spaceship.
Right.
And so just the fact that those prophecies were made and people have the ability to put together, like the World Wide Web is the spider. I just get in awe of that insight, that knowledge, that wisdom.
Yeah, it's like in awe.
Yeah.
Some awe to it.
Yeah.
I just sometimes reflect back, and you can hear stories like right now. You could hear stories of 2050. We're gonna have this and we're gonna have that. I remember when they started talking about electric cars. It's like, oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That ain't never gonna happen. And now there is some, and but it just kind of leaves you like it makes us a pretty unique generation. This is unfolding in our generation, and it hasn't unfolded in the last 1,000 generations. It was just information to be kept up and passed on and keep going, and so now we're here.
Yeah.
And now, this information about a warning that if it doesn't get enough, I don't even know what you call it, followers, walkers. I mean, we can name it all kinds of stuff, but that's kind of how, people were asking me when I said, well, for like 10 years I've been asked to do, 10 years ago what it was called was a blog. You should do a blog on
Yeah.
some of these teachings that you do, because I went around the country, telling some of these stories and for recovery and reservations and in prisons and things like that. and people started saying, "Yeah, you should." I don't even know what a blog was. I still kind of don't know what a blog is.
Either.
I wasn't very technical, person. I mean, I remember getting a phone. What was it? A BlackBerry or whatever. But all I had to learn how to do was answer it and maybe send an email.
I was happy with my flip phone.
Yeah.
I did not, yeah.
That's what I had beforehand, and I was like, I don't want to get rid of this.
But
anyway,
Woody, I think,
Right.
and this is part of it. It's all about sharing what we know with others, because you don't know who's listening to you, and you don't know who's following you. And all we can do is share, and that's what's going to bring the people. That's, I think, our purpose here. It's like you've been told these stories long ago. Now you're going around telling them. Now somebody else is going to be going around telling them. And eventually we're going to get to where whatever that is that we're supposed to be.
Mm.
And I really believe that. It's all about sharing. It's all about not keeping what we know to ourselves. Not being that selfish, self-centered person we were.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a sense. Well, I got that there was a sense of urgency when I was first hearing these. Yeah, as a young person, it's like you need to know this, and you know what I mean. And I didn't really understand their sense of urgency, but because the unfathomable thing was I'm passing this on because I'm going to be gone.
Yep.
And I couldn't fathom you're not going to be here. You know what I mean? And so now can kind of see that our generation has a responsibility to pass it to the next generation, so that it don't die with us.
You shared that story with me when you were at somewhere, and each generation stood up and apologized to the following generation. And that's how this all started.
Yeah.
And we're only here for a minute. That's all.
Yeah. In the grand scheme of things.
We're here for a minute, And hopefully we get to haunt people from the other side, right?
Yeah.
People will hear our voices, just like we hear the voices of those people that went before us.
Right. Well, it's a really powerful thing to hear people's struggle of their life and what have you. And so I just want to see, can you tell us your story about how this all came about for you? Good and the bad?
Yeah, how much time you got? I don't know. I don't like to do a drunk-a-log because I just drank enough to get me where I needed to be to get the help I needed. We all did that, right? So I don't like drunk-a-log. But when I do share my story, I share it as a spiritual battle, because that's what it was. I knew there was something really wrong with me from a very young age. I did not know what it was. I can remember being 6, thinking I was adopted because I didn't fit in my family. And I just was always that square peg trying to fit in that wrong hole. And then I found alcohol and drugs, and I found the answer to everything just like you did. It solved all my problems. But I was a violent, angry drunk. And I liked guns. And that's what brought me to my knees. I tried to kill my husband and my children when I was drunk and loaded. And not something I'm proud of, but it's something I did. I remember it like it was yesterday. I never want to forget that. And so my husband forced me to get help. I also shot at cops from 3 counties. But back then they didn't shoot back, and back then they knew you, and back then they just took you home. And one of the cops had been to our house, I don't know how many times. He said, "Ah, shit, she's just drunk again. Let me go talk to her." And he agreed to not charge me. But he stopped me every day. He told me he had a year and a day to charge me. And if I would go get help, he wouldn't do that. And he stopped me every day for a year and asked me if I was sober and not drinking. And he was a huge part of my story because he'd been a Circle K clerk where I bought my booze. He'd been an ambulance attendant. I had 3 nervous breakdowns trying to get off the drugs because I thought I could do it myself. And then he became a cop. So he knew my story start to finish. So anyway, I got sober and managed to stay that way for a year and a half, and then I did drink again. I had an intense terror that I would really be successful harming somebody if I got drunk again. And I got up one morning and that fear wasn't there, and I drank that day. That was my last drink. So I got sober, got real involved in 12 steps and in-service work, and it became my life. And it was my life. Well, in 1998, I realized that my family had really sacrificed a lot by my being involved in service work. Because I'd done it for 14 years. And to listen to my children, they said I was no more available to them then than when I was drunk. So I had to look at that. And so I made a promise to my family that the next 10 years I would not be involved in service work. And I would not do anything that took me away from them. I didn't know why I was making that promise, but I totally understand it today. So, April 6th of 2006, I'm 25 years sober. My husband's 25 years sober. And amazingly enough, we made it through the drunkenness, and we also made it through the sobriety. I don't know when our house was crazier sometimes, 2 drunks or 2 sober people. I'm not sure, but it was crazy. But we made it through it. And April 6, 2006, he'd been sick for 3 months, and we got the diagnosis that he had terminal cancer. And I lost my faith in God. I was really angry. I couldn't control it. I couldn't manipulate it. I couldn't throw money at it. I couldn't do anything to make it go away. And so I got through the next 14 months. And then my mom got diagnosed with cancer right after he died. And she died in the same spot in my living room. So I had absolutely no faith. None. I just wanted to not be here. And so that's when my friends from Baker City came and saved my life. I didn't think they were saving my life. Oh, I knew nothing about this road. They came and got me. They moved me to Baker. They made me get a job. I didn't want to work. They made me get an apartment. I'd never lived alone. And they kept throwing me in this thing they called a sweat lodge. Now, I didn't want to be in it. And my grandpa Bob said, my job is to get you in that inipi and you pray. I said, I ain't praying. I'm pissed. I ain't praying. Well, get in there, we'll pray for you. I would be so angry in that lodge. Oh my God. Didn't want to be there, didn't want to pray. They threw me in it every time they could. Literally threw me in it. They said, get dressed, we're starting the lodge for you. I'd go, I don't want to go. You're going, get here. And then they told me they were going to drag me to some ceremonies, and I said I'm not going, especially when I found out I couldn't shower for 10 days. I went, no, I started having anxiety attacks. Because I couldn't wear makeup, I couldn't shower. No, this girl is not going there, right? And I went. Took him a year to convince me, but I went. Still not really doing much. Still pretty angry at God, but willing to listen a little bit to them. So then they told me I was going to go on a vision quest. So they took me to Vision Quest camp so I could see what it was about, and I thought, I ain't going. 1, I'm afraid of the dark. 2, there's animals out there. And 3, you ain't putting me on some hill and then leaving. It ain't gonna work. I'm not doing it. I started having anxiety attacks again. Started crying. Oh my God. And they would just laugh and say, you're going. Well, I made the prayer ties. They would sit around me while I made them because they knew I wouldn't do it. And my grandpa Bob said, you're going to go on this vision quest and you're going to leave your anger, your resentments, your fear, and your grief on that hill. And I don't care how long it takes. If it takes 30 days, it takes 30 days. You're not coming off that hill till you're healed. Okay. So I go on the hill. What an experience. So, the wind kept blowing out of the south and it was really cold. My lips were blue, I was shivering, I couldn't get warm, and it was the middle of June. It was not cold outside. And so I decided I was leaving the hill because I was too cold. So my grandpa Bob came up. He said, how you doing, sister? I said, I'm cold. I can't get warm. The wind's blowing out of the south. And I'm thinking he's going to take me down. And he looks at me. He says, you might ask it what it wants. And he walked away. I was mad. Oh my God, I was mad. I thought, no, I want off here. So it kept blowing, and finally I screamed. I just literally screamed, what do you want? And the wind told me it wanted my grief and my anger and my resentments and my fears. But first I had to be willing to let go. I wasn't willing. Who the hell am I without all that? I was terrified. I finally surrendered. And I liken that to Alcoholics Anonymous. We have to surrender in the 12-step program before we can get sober. I had to surrender on that hill before I could heal. So I did that. Walked off that mountain a free woman. Since then we go to Sundance. Grandpa Bob, I said, hey, Grandpa Al keeps telling me he sees me in the arbor, and I just laugh. He said, you go make a tobacco pouch, and you go offer it to Grandpa Allen, and you ask him what he sees. Okay. Grandpa Allen says, I've seen you in the arbor since I met you. So I went in the arbor and became a sun dancer for the next 4 years. I danced for the people. The most beautiful experience outside of being on the hill I've ever had. And I'm so grateful I got to do that. And ever since then, I've just suit up and show up at ceremonies. I just do what I can. When somebody needs my chanupa, it goes. My life turned totally upside down September 25th, 2019. Yeah. I had a widowmaker heart attack, and I lived through it. They don't know why. They told me I'd be dead by noon. I was sleeping with 3 chanupas. And the doctors, oh my God, they would just come in and say, you have such a positive attitude about dying. And in my head, I'm going, I ain't dying. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. So that morning, when they told me I wouldn't live till noon, 14 eagles circled my daughter's house. And one flew off, and there was only 13. And so since I didn't die, I called my teacher, and I said, I need your interpretation of something that happened. And she said, okay, what? And I said, well, the morning they told me I was going to die, 14 eagles circled my daughter's house. And one flew off, and there were only 13. Well, she started crying, and I thought, oh my God, I wish I wouldn't ask, right? She said, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, there were 13 eagle chiefs, all given a specific blessing that they are to take to the people when they need them. That 14th eagle was you making the decision to not go to the spirit world. She said, start counting, your blessings are coming. And they haven't stopped since. Yeah.
You're not done yet.
I'm not done yet.
Mm-hmm.
Now my prayer is, Creator, don't let today be the day I complete my mission.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ready to go yet, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we have no idea if we're having success with anything. They've always told me since I got sober, the only thing we ask is that you pass it on. So I've been trying to do that, but if I could reflect on it, it's like, I'm not really sure I've ever done that. I try, but we're just not totally sure.
Well, I've been an alcohol and drug counselor for 40 years. I'd really like not to be one, but I don't know how not to. And about the time I decide, okay, Creator, I'm done. I can't keep doing this, right? It's like somebody Facebooked me this week. She has 27 years sobriety, and she thanked me for being there when she needed me. Okay, Creator, that's why I keep doing this. Okay, I'll keep doing this, I do like helping others, so, and that's just one of the avenues I get to do it.
All right, thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
You got a couple more things to ask you. All right, that was powerful. Thanks for sharing that. And
You're welcome.
I think when I reflect back, the first guy that was helping me, he's no longer here, but I just flash back to his words way back in the beginning of that. Basically all he did was tell me his story. I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
I thought he was bragging for a second.
Yeah.
But it was like all he did was get me on the same plane. It's like he wasn't some outsider not understanding where I was at. He told that story in such a way that I connected to it. It's like he's a totally different culture and everything from me, as I grew up, and it was like, wow, he really does know this, and he's not from the other side of the river, and so that really helped. So hopefully that story you just told reaches somebody, and that they go somewhere and ask someone for help tonight. You know, it kind of, so once we get on this path, and I know you, so I know that you're on this path anyway. It's like I've been reflecting lately on, I can see this other energy and hear it in some people that I know, and this wintertime energy. I think either energy, this healing energy, can get a hold of you and almost keep you in line, but that other energy can get a hold of you and keep you in line with that too. Can you see that, like just in your daily walk?
Oh, I feel it.
I too.
Yeah, I can feel it when you walk into a room, when you meet somebody. Oh, yeah, you can feel it. Yeah. I choose to walk away from it.
So that's kind of why I'm asking that. It's like there's all of a sudden a choice, right? And I can keep choosing to not, I don't know, sometimes I use the word getting sucked in.
Yeah.
It's like I could get sucked into this conversation or, you know, movement, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Or I can choose to let it go. I mean, that told me when I first started coming around here, I heard this a lot, and you probably heard it too, but they would say, it ain't all about you.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, way back then, I was kind of respectful. I never said a lot of stuff out loud, but inside I'd be like, well, that's a bull. This is about me. And I just didn't get it. I wasn't connected to the spiritual principle of, you know, getting out of yourself. And I suppose that means let go, let God. Some of the cliches that they use in those rooms, and you know, it's not all about me. What works, and so how do you get that going? I remember in the beginning it would be like the examples would be, you're behind somebody at a red light and the light turns green and they don't go. And that's a good time to say, it ain't all about me. Who knows what's going on with them, you know? And so it started to regulate my slamming the horn and, you know, cussing them out and what have you. And so as it worked, things became a lot calmer. It's like, you know, what's the reason here? Well, I'm in a hurry, or, you know, I have some perfectionism that they should pay attention to the light and all that. And but then, I mean, it's happened to me. Be at a light, look up, it's been green. People are, you know, somebody tooted their horn behind me, and it's like, oh my God, sorry, you know, and then try to go. So there's not much out there that I can't judge that I haven't done, and that really helps. And so it's really not about me.
Right.
And right now, this whole movement is not about me. I want to be one of the grains of sand in the bucket that gets filled up here, and it's already full. I just can't notice it. I don't know if this was your experience, but when I first got sober and coming out of that fog or that committee and all that kind of stuff, heck, the sky was blue and the clouds were fluffy and the bluebird was singing, and I remember telling my sponsor that, yeah, the birds are singing, and see, that's where he would say, look, it ain't all about you. They ain't singing because you're getting better. They've always been singing. You just had them blocked out.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, whoa. I mean, they've been there this whole time. And yeah, they've been there this whole time. So that the energy of healing in this new springtime, it's there, whether you connected to it or not. That's why we're using that spirituality as connection, that spiritual saying, spiritual law, is that if I can connect to something, then I can get on. So how do I do that all day long? While we have, I mean, do you watch the news?
No.
I don't watch the news.
No, I don't even turn on the TV.
But if you catch it for 8 minutes,
yeah,
you can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's on this or that, and I mean, maybe 2 or 3 times in the last 2 years, caught a few minutes of it. The story hasn't changed.
No.
It's like it's the same episode 2 years later, and what's that getting us? And the whole how do we reunite if I've got this big barrier up from letting you in, and I just want to tell you, what to complain about with me.
But the solution is truth.
Truth, yeah.
We don't trust the media.
Yeah.
That's why I don't watch the news, right? But I trust you.
Yeah.
Because you tell me the truth. And to me, that's the solution. If we just speak our truth and stay true to ourselves,
sure,
we're going to be all right.
Question my own truth sometimes. So, is that really true, or should I even be repeating that? But it's a self-conversation to try to be careful, because I wouldn't want to steer nobody wrong. And it's probably happened thousands of times.
Yeah.
And not so much lately, but yeah, is there a message you'd like to leave these viewers? That you can take all the time you want, but what's the message?
Love is a solution to everything. It's all we need. I came away from my heart attack knowing one truth. That love is all we have. So, my job, one, make sure you know I love you, because I sincerely do. The second thing is to know that you love me, because I know that. And that's all we're leaving people, is that love that we shared with them. And I try to do that everywhere I go, because that's all there is. So, that's my lesson. Hard way to learn it, because I thought it was all, like you say, about me, right? God, I remember a time when we had a 48-foot stock trailer and a Dodge Dually with a Cummins engine, and I thought I was all that in a bag of chips because I could drive it. Oh, fuck. It don't matter. All that doesn't matter. All that matters is we love each other. That's what I know. And I have to be grateful. I even thank God for a good parking spot, We just have to have gratitude, because gratitude and hate and resentment can't live in the heart in the same place. And so, I just know love is the answer to everything. So, I share that a lot. So, yeah.
Perfect. I'm sure glad you came.
Oh, I'm grateful you asked me.
I've got this big list of people that I actually know, but then I'm hesitant on asking them, hey, will you come on a podcast and share some stuff, and nobody's really said no. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a pretty big list right now, and it's going to take us a while to get through it, but there's even a few people that I asked, like on my uncle's, he's got a Facebook page or whatever that he puts messages out on, and so I asked him on that without thinking that other people could read my question. So I'm not very good at this, and so it's Facebook, but I said, hey, Uncle, I'm starting this podcast, and you know what I mean, I really want to get your words on there, and he's like, yeah, okay, and then 8 or 9 of his followers, what do you call, they're like, hey, I'm on that path, you know what I mean, and I don't even know who these people are, you know what I mean, and so I was like, well, heck, you're invited, let me get your name on the list and some information, and So already before we even really got started here, um, I'm thinking we're going to start to be able to know people that we didn't know. Yeah. And I'm really, I mean, this kind of came from I don't know if I have visions, vivid dreams, or whatever you want to call them. I got a couple of elders that say you're having visions. But again, there's my thing of, oh, a vision is, and then I'm not matching that description.
Yeah.
So even if it is visions, but the vision is, how many people can you connect? It's like I read that book, The Power of One, a long time ago, but it's like if you make a change, one little change, say a grain of sand in a 5-gallon bucket all by itself, makes a change worldwide. But they explain it in that book. And so I can remember when this elder Don, he told me once, man, you're changing the world. And I was like, what? Because I did a 5th step with him. You know what I mean? And I kind of connected on that 5th step. He's like, you're changing the world. And really what he meant was, a little bit more. Like, I remember the explanation that really helped me is like, say you came into this program, which is what I was doing, as a full glass of dirty water. I can connect to that, exactly what I was. And as you walk this walk, you're spilling out some dirty water and pouring clean water in it. Now, the water's still dirty, not as much. And then you keep doing that. And how long does it take for the water to clear up? Well, who knows if it ever gets 100% cleared back up, but the process itself changing the world. So that glass of water is the whole world. Yeah. And as I don't know if this is appropriate, I call it puking up our stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And building some space for the power, beyond my own help, can fill that spot and keep doing it, and keep doing it. I'm not really sure how long that takes, but
till we're dead.
We have elders that have told us, in order to walk this walk, you must be a hollow bone.
Yes, I've heard that many times.
And so, what does it take to become a hollow bone? And so, all the things that we do, meetings, ceremonies, helping people, service work like you started out with, and you're one of those people that represent that to me. And that's who my mind is making this list of people I want to come on here. They're the people I see that are doing the thing, and mostly I just want to be like them if I grow up. And so I appreciate you coming on. There's opportunity to come back on, and be next year at this time we'll get the new Marty, because after a year there's more to be revealed.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. Well, what do you think? I'm excited for your new venture.
Oh yeah, you can help us out by spreading it out. I mean, you're gonna have a segment here, so you want everyone to watch your segment.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I mean, we're trying to build quite a few followers now. So 1,000 miles with Woody Blaine on YouTube, and we're looking into how to get that in some other places and things like that, and we really need a lot of help. This has been a learning process. I didn't know. Like, I had some recording equipment for my family sings and plays and records songs, and my very first thought was, well, can I even do this? I don't have any money to buy a bunch of stuff, and so then the basic foundation, and we already had it, and people donated a couple things. Like, all I had was milk cartons before that chair was donated.
Yeah.
And, but I would have been glad to have done it that way, because it's not about the, how much stuff we have here for the show, but that we keep moving along. And literally, not joking, we can see the duct tape.
Yeah. Oh, well,
And our technician over there can MacGyver something together with some baling wire or whatever. But yeah, so I appreciate everyone tuning in. And there's that big old spiel. Subscribe. It's really going to help us out to get to numbers. And hit the bell. It'll tell you every time we post something. And the like button and all that. Well, we had to create another little segment here that you can watch with all that stuff written down, because this thing don't work too well. And so all that stuff you can remember. And we created a couple of places where you could donate if you want. They have to go to the description, and that'll be in there. So hope to see you soon. If you can help. If you can't, just keep tuning in. All my relations.
The sky's looking dark and the clouds look heavy. Might be wiser if I hopped in the Chevy. But I have a lot to think about. I'm gonna take a walk even if I get rained out. The sky's looking dark and the clouds look heavy. Might be wiser if I hopped in my Chevy. But I have a lot to think about. I'm gonna take a walk even if I get rained out. I'm moving on, walking on. So much going on I can't ignore. Just let that rain pour. Talk to my maker as I trek along. Hum with the birds as they sing their songs. And I'll keep walking on as the rain pours on. I'm moving on, walking on. Close the world out for a moment of time, just a quick breath to clear my mind. Wind starts blowing and the rain's much harder. Leaves flying everywhere, the sky's much darker. And I'll keep walking on, walking on. Find some peace of mind with every step I take. Humming with the birds till my soul is sick. Look to the sky as the rain pours down. As it hits my face, I can hear the silent sounds. I'm moving on, walking on, walking on. In a new cycle and the world's gone mad. Let's teach others the beauty of the land. My heart will be right as we come full circle. I'll give thanks for the miracles. North, south, east and west, I feel so blessed. I'm moving on, walking on. stars lie within. I hope I'm moving on. I'm walking on. I'm walking on. The sky looks dark and the clouds look heavy. Might be wiser if I hopped in the Chevy. But I have a lot to think about. I'm gonna take a walk even if I get rained out. I hope